What's going on, you guys? It's Cody Steck. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about Utah's population and how it has increased over the past decade. There was a recent report that was just put out on KSL.com where they actually broke down exactly how much the population increased over the past year, what it looked like over the past decade, and which areas are growing the quickest. If you're thinking about making that move here, you're probably wondering somewhat of the same thing, hey, what areas are growing the fastest? What areas should I avoid? What areas should I go to? Why are these different areas increasing so quickly, and what do I need to know about them? We're going to break that all down for you here. I've got the article pulled up on my phone. I'm going to put it on the screen as well, and we're going to look at this together to see how things change, and I think some of the results might surprise you. So stick with me to the end. If you're thinking about making that move here, also make sure to get in touch with me. I absolutely love it when you guys reach out, and I can't wait to hear from you as well. I've had people from all across the United States and even worldwide reach out to me about moving right here to Salt Lake City, Utah, and I absolutely love it. So my information's here on the screen. Make sure to get in touch with me, and with that said, let's jump right into my phone. Okay, so I've got it pulled up here on my phone. We're going to go through this together, and as we do, I'm going to give you my perspective and my thoughts on what the article is saying here, because I want to share my perspective from being in tune with the real estate market and also how that reflects on the population. As the population goes up, how does this actually affect the real estate market itself? Because those are probably the two things you want to know about. Where should I live? What's the real estate market like? What do I need to know about living in Utah? So let's jump right into this. It says Utah's population rose 18.4% over the past decade. Utah County outpaces Salt Lake for the very first time. It's believed that Utah's population grew to more than 500,000 people over the past decade, but there's signs of growth stabilization. At the same time, it appears Utah County is growing faster than Salt Lake for the very first time. This is a report put out by the University of Utah's Kem C. Gardner Policy Institute, and it releases this annual state and county population estimates, which were projected. There were about 3.273 people living in Utah as of July 1st. If that's true, it would be an increase of 509,000 people in the span since the 2010 census was completed, which is an increase of 18.4%. This is pretty crazy. That's a massive increase, 500,000 people in just the last 10 years. Of course, the findings of the report are more of a placeholder as the Census Bureau completes information from the 2020 census that we just had. I want to scroll down here a little bit and get down here. The year 2020 threw a curveball for researchers on this project, just like everybody else. The annual report typically looks at data to make the estimate for July 1st every year. This year, about 3/4 of the information came pre-pandemic, while the remaining quarter came afterward. As a result, they had to look at multiple data sources from birth and death information, tax information, housing data, school enrollment, and even membership records from the LDS Church before and after the pandemic. So if we come down here, it looks like ultimately they projected a population of 3.273 million, which is an increase of 52,829 people from last year, or a 1.64% increase. It's believed that the state's population has grown every single year since 2010. But the growth has slowed down quite a bit. That 1.64% increase in 2020 would be the lowest year-over-year increase since it was 1.37% in 2014. I think some of this could be possibly due to the changes in the pandemic, right? Even though a lot of people are trying to get out of where they're living, a lot of people haven't yet made that move because they're unsure of, restrictions, and maybe they're not in a position to move. Maybe they're, at risk, and so they don't want to move and, risk going through that whole thing, getting the virus or anything like that. So I don't know exactly, what the reasoning is. It's just interesting that it actually is the lowest since it has been, since it was last low at 1.37 in 2014. The largest growth rate of the decade came in 2017 at 1.93%, and then slightly lower at in 2018 and 2019. It says they closed out the year with another closed out the decade with another year of strong population growth, a consistent pattern since 2013, although this growth has mostly stabilized since 2018. Now, this is where they actually are going to talk about the decrease in births and the increase in migration. There's two factors for the population rise, which also help pinpoint this stabilization: birth and migration. First, there were more babies born in Utah than total deaths reported, but the data indicates the gap, known as natural increase, is slowly shrinking. This means that there was in the past, there's been more births and less deaths, but now we're actually experiencing less births, but more deaths. So that gap there of the natural increase is actually shrinking. So if we come down here, it says there was 52,000 births and 14,000 deaths in 2010, and it was estimated that there was 46,000 births and almost 19,000 deaths in 2020. Now, of course, deaths will be elevated this year because of the pandemic, but also just natural, death causes and accidents and stuff like that also cause death as well. So births are down, deaths are up. So unfortunately, this gap is shrinking just a little bit. So that's one of the reasons why we're seeing this, this growth stabilization that they're talking about. The other thing I want to come down to and talk about here, it says the result, the projected natural increase for 2020 was 27,573 people, which is down from 38,597 people in 2010. So this is the lowest it's been since the mid-1990s. The other portion of this is from migration. So it actually says here, the second reason for the growth is more people arriving in Utah than departing. Net migration, which is the number of people moving to the state compared to the number of people moving out, continues to be high. I know that, you know that, a lot of people move in here, which, by the way, if you're moving here, get in touch with me. This figure was estimated at 25,256. I can tell you a lot of you guys are reaching out, but it's not anywhere near 25,000 people. So, I mean, come on, guys. I love talking to you. I'm not the scary guy on the internet. Reach out to me and let's have a conversation and help you make that move a little bit simpler. This statistic, expert said, shifts yearly but has remained consistent over the past few years. The year 2020 is the sixth straight year Utah has ended up with a number between 20,000 and 30,000 new people through net migration. Now, let's talk about how Utah County is really leading the way. It says here, Southern Utah, Northern Utah, and the southern portion of the Wasatch Front highlighted year-over-year growth according to the report. No county saw more percentage growth from 2019 to 2020 than Washington, which grew an estimated 4.06%, which was followed by these other counties. The important thing I wanted to point out here, though, Utah County's population increased by an estimated 19,437 people from July of 2019 to July of 2020. Which led all counties in total growth. It's the first time Utah County has ever surpassed growth in Salt Lake County. Net migration is the key factor for this change. Net migration growth was estimated at 10,531 people for this county alone, which was nearly 4,000 more than any other county in the state. So this is massive because it also says the county led in natural increase. So Utah County is absolutely blowing up. We already knew that. I've talked about that multiple times here on the channel, that Utah County is expected to more than double in population over the next 30 years. Last we heard, they were sitting at about 600,000 people, give or take a little bit, and we're expecting that to be 1.3 million by the time we get to the year 2050. So we're going to see massive increases over the next 30 years for Utah County. And now Utah County has so much land, there's so much opportunity there that is growing quicker than Salt Lake County is itself. Salt Lake County is mostly developed, there's not a lot of land left. They're moving a lot of the older homes, they might be tearing them down and going multifamily. They're really having to kind of change things up to be able to build more in Salt Lake City, whereas Utah County still has a ton of land and a ton of opportunity there. So I think that's one of the main reasons why Utah County is seeing so much growth. It also says that, look, we've got BYU and Utah Valley University, which are big draws to the county, but so are more affordable housing and the suburban lifestyle. That's totally true. You're going to definitely get more bang for your buck in Utah County compared to Salt Lake County. I think that gap is closing pretty quickly, but I'd say on average, just from my quick guess, I'd say Utah County is probably about 10 to 15% cheaper than Salt Lake County if you just look across the board. If we scroll down a little bit further, it says Utah County is believed to have the largest population increase in terms of total people added since 2010. Researchers believe it grew by 154,280 people over that time period. In fact, the Wasatch Front counties continue to outgain the rest of the state in sheer population. I think that's pretty obvious. Of course, that the Wasatch Front is definitely going to lead the rest of the state in population, just because this is where the jobs are at, this is where the housing's at, this is where people are wanting to move to. They're looking for the opportunity, looking to get out of areas that are more expensive, or just looking for new jobs or close access to nature or whatever it may be. So that's very obvious that the Wasatch Front is where the growth is happening. And I think for you guys, the important thing to notice here as we kind of wrap up this article is that if you're wondering about population, yes, the population's increasing, and yes, it is growing very rapidly, but I don't think it's too late for you to also make that move here into the state. We're growing and we've got a lot of opportunity, and there's going to continue to be a lot of opportunity for many years to come. So if you're looking for a better lifestyle, if you want a lower cost of living, if you want just better access to the outdoors, Utah is definitely the place to do that. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're thinking about making that move here, get in touch with me absolutely love it when you guys reach out. I can't say that enough. My contact information is here on the screen, so feel free to call me, text me, or email me, and let's have a conversation about making that move here to the beautiful state of Utah. Give me a thumbs up here on the video if you enjoyed this content. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about what it's like to work, eat, sleep, live, and play here along the Wasatch Front, whether it's Salt Lake City, Park City, Provo, Lehi, Saratoga Springs, Ogden, any of the surrounding areas. I've got your back when you're making that move here to Salt Lake City. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.